Hi, my name's Emma, and this is my boat, Narrowboat Ethel.
What is the name of your narrowboat?
My narrowboat's called Ethel the Unready.
And is there a story behind that name?
There is. It's named Ethel the Unready in part because I really like some of the really long, pretentious names that some narrowboats have. But I wanted that, but really unusual. And on top of that, my grandmother had a boat called Narrowboat Ethel, so I've named my boat after her boat.
Oh, that's lovely. How long have you owned your boat?
I bought my boat in August 2021, so I've had it for a little bit less than a year.
Okay. And what did your family and friends think of you moving on to a narrowboat?
They all love it. My family's been really supportive. There was very little doubt that I would really enjoy being on a narrowboat. I'm not the first member of my family to live on one. I am the first member of my immediate family to live on one, but either way, everyone's really excited.
Excellent. So tell us a bit about your boat.
Okay. I live on a 48-foot traditional stern narrowboat. It's built by Pedigree Boat Builders, which we believe, as far as we can tell, was a construction company that built one prototype boat to see if they liked boat building. And I have wound up with that boat. It's got a few quirks because of that, but I do love it.
What made you want to buy a boat?
Oh, you haven't heard this story either, have you?
Possibly not.
I have a habit of not telling this story. The reason that I wanted to buy a boat, I was looking for a cheaper way to live in London when I was at university, and I found an article titled something along the lines of, I lived in London's narrowboat slums and you don't have to. And I kind of thought, that can't be right. Like, I know people live on these things. I'd never actually seen a narrowboat before. And I went, that can't be right. So I started doing a lot more research. I watched loads of YouTube videos. And it very quickly became a slight obsession. And now I own a boat.
Do you live aboard full time and do you constant cruise?
I live aboard full time. I am a continuous cruiser, except for in winter. I do try and take a winter mooring.
Okay. Where are you most excited to visit on your narrowboat?
I'm really looking forward to getting the boat to the Crick Boat Show.
Okay.
I really, really want to go to the Crick Boat Show. That's the main thing. Second to that, I'd love to see Hebden Bridge.
Okay. Yeah. Why is that?
It's funky and I like it.
Tell us what you love about your boat and living on board.
I love the independence of it. Before buying a boat, obviously I was living in a rental flat, and I really, really disliked paying rent. It is one of the reasons that I really wanted to move on to a boat to begin with. So I love that it's my space, that I can do whatever I want with and take wherever I want to, assuming that the canal fits my boat. And I just love the independence of it.
Okay, so tell us your funny narrowboat canal story.
I think this question is better titled, Tell me about the time that you fell in. So the time that I fell in, I luckily had my mum and a very good friend on board, and we were chugging along the canal as usual. We came out to a lock, we moored up, my mum and friend went to set the lock, and I kind of set about getting the boat ready to go in, holding it into shore, and eventually the lock was ready, the lock gates were opening, so I put the rope back on the boat, I took a step onto the gunnels, I took a second step, and I missed. And the next thing I knew, I was hanging on to the rails with my bottom half in the canal. And there was a patch of stinging nettles directly behind me. And I called for help a couple of times, and luckily my friend noticed and booked it over to me and went, what do you need me to do? And I went, I need you to take my cell phone out of my back pocket. She went, why? And I went, because I'm going to let go. And then I'm going to be in the canal, and I would like to still have a working cell phone. And my plan had been, you know, the lock gates are open, let go, walk over to the lock, have someone throw me a life ring just for safety, because locks can have very strong currents, and use the lock ladder to get out, because there were stinging nettles all along the canal, the towpath side. Lots and lots of stinging nettles. But my friend couldn't reach. So instead of getting my phone out, which she did try and do, she started pulling the boat into shore. And I looked behind me and noticed this big wall of stinging nettles quickly approaching. And there's nothing like adrenaline for suddenly making you stronger. And I did a full pull-up and got myself out of the water. And then I poured my shoes out. It was good.
That's a good story.